On Prime News. I am Sama Eileen, your presenter. We begin today's newscast in the northwest region of Cameroon, precisely the adoption of the 2022 accounts. Jato Derek was in Bamuso and now tells us more.
Record now project that in the entire history of the Bamuso Council, it is only during the mandate of Mayor Samuel Meme that history has been created.
And since its inception, we've never gotten up to a point of 750 million francs CFA as our management account. We were demoted at one time to class 4, and all of a sudden, because of our hard work for the past year, 2022, we have been reinstated back to class 3 because our management accounts are now above 500 million francs CFA.
And the decisions to arrive here were firm.
We have to shun at all those who are practicing the very negative mentality of defrauding the council in correction of revenues in the field. And recalcitrants were disciplined seriously.
Today, the councillors of this Bamuso subdivision in the Bakassi Peninsula, Southwest region are sitting for the first ordinary session for 2023.
We just adopted the administrative management and stores account for 2022, and it is quite impressive indeed. We hope to stay or improve on what we have done, because the management and administrative account this year is better than that of the previous years.
Known as a development-driven council, the divisional officer for Bamuso subdivision, Wala Ezak, who sat in for the senior divisional officer for the Indian division, while congratulating the council management for the teamwork, reminded them that it was hard, no doubt, to score this high, but it will be harder to maintain the standard. Thus, the time to engage more is now that they have the momentum. From Mayor Samuel Meme to the fishing population of the Bamuso municipality, the future is bright.
The message I want to give to the population is that there is a brighter future for Bamuso and there is hope. We have just started. It is visible. One, it is verifiable. What people can verify, what people can see. And we want to tell the population of Bamuso that what we have not been able to do, if we are being given the time, we'll be able to do more.
The councillors of this CBDM-run council were also congratulated for their effective participation at the just ended senatorial election.
Yes, sir.
We stay in the southwest region where some 37 women from Nolinga affected by the recent flash floods in Boya have received humanitarian aid from the Fako women in Dingue. The donation exercise was done yesterday. Emanuela C. was a part of that donation exercise and now reports.
Since the flash flood incident in Boya, with the Boya town neighborhood mostly affected, non-governmental organizations, groups and humanitarian organizations have been flooding in to assist those affected. The Fako women in Dingue have joined in with the initiative to support their fellow Fako women in Nolinga affected by the natural disaster as a way of building social cohesion.
And so we have come today to Nolinga to stretch a hand and commune with mostly the women, our women, Fako women, who were involved in the flood. As to what really motivated us is just that motherly feeling, that feeling of sisterhood, that we are women of Fako, and what happened in Fako, and our sisters and mothers and children, Fako women, are also victims of what happened. And so we are here to give them a word of comfort and see how to give them some assistance that we help them even for one day.
Ikomi Rosaline lost a lot during the flash flood and applauds the initiative of these Fako women.
In fact, we are really happy, we are really grateful for this support from the Fako women. In fact, as one, I'm really grateful because for what I lost, in fact, I'm grateful.
a show of support and care from the group of Fako women, they call on other organizations to help support the victims to gain back their livelihood.
And to something else, some 4 police officers have been permanently excluded from their training at the Mutengene Police College in the southwest region of Cameroon on charges of drug trafficking and consumption. Ewane has more.
These student police inspectors are accused of trafficking, being in possession and the consumption of hard drugs, as well as violating the ethics and deontologies of their profession. They include Zambo Christian Loic, Meyanga Jean-Claude, Tobogbe Donfils, and Anyuzowa Claude. The 4 student police inspectors were dismissed from the police training center in Mutengene Southwest region on Friday, March 31, 2023 during assembly, where they were presented to the other trainees at the center. According to authorities of the institution, the victims, since their arrival at the training center, did not comply to or execute the rules and regulations put in place, most especially the fight against drug possession, consumption, and trafficking. The definite exclusion of the 4 thus puts an end to their career within the police force. It should be noted that this is coming shortly after the Divisional Commission of the Douala International Airport, Babangida Amadou, was relieved of his functions and arrested on the orders of the General Delegate for National Security, Martin Bargangele, and charged with validating drug trafficking at the Douala International Airport here in the economic capital of Cameroon.
Let's now talk culture. The General President of the Wimbum Funds Union, His Royal Highness Commander Kimbi, has called on his tribesmen in the country to support all the funds of Wimbum clan as they rally for peace and development back home. Charles Kebwa reports.
The estimated over 1,000 Wimbum people residing in Bamenda intend to raise over 85 million FCFA, construct a structure to host Wimbum Fund's secretariat. During a fundraiser come together at the Andamukon Street Meeting House, Bamenda, Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, the Bamenda branch of the Wimbum Cultural and Development Association members regret the ongoing socio-political crisis has hampered their activities because of threats to move along the Kumbondu stretch of the ring road, and insecurity has affected education in the locality. To redress setback, the president of the Wimbum Funds Union, Fund Commander Kimbi, called on his people to advocate for a return to normalcy.
Today, in our land, talk less of Northwest and Southwest, we just see the peace returning gradually. We just pray that it should come fully, so that we should go on with our development, and so that Wimbum people can gather together. Even those who have fled to the bush, even those who are elsewhere, if we cannot be together, we cannot build. So I just pray that peace will return, so that our people should come back home.
The General President of the Wimbum Funds Union, His Majesty Commander Kimbi, challenged his tribesmen in the country to support the funds of the clan, for the doors of the palaces are open for peace and development back home.
From Donga and Mantong, the elites of Wimbum people, to come for advice. Those who are even outside, those who are in Yaoundé, those who are all over Cameroon, those who are at home, we are calling upon them that the door of the palace is open. The Wimbum people need to think again, and what is happening, we don't know, but we need an advice.
It should be noted, Wimbum people constitute a major tribe in Donga Mantung division of the Northwest and reputed for agriculture.
Let's now take you back to the just ended senatorial elections and appointments by President Paul Biya, where the CPDM swept 94 seats. In this report, Fon Aquinta gives us major highlights of how it went down. Take a listen.
30 senators, 3 from each region, have been appointed by President Paul Biya as stipulated by Cameroon's constitution and Section 215 of the Electoral Code. The 30 appointed join 70 others who were elected on March 12, 2023, thus completing the House to 100 senators, with 94 from the ruling CPDM, while opposition grabbed 6 seats. If there was any suspense at the end of the senatorial elections of March 12, in which no opposition won a seat, Mr. Biya put an end to it on Friday, April 31, appointing 30, 6 of which are opposition members coming from different parties: the UNDP, ANDP, MDR, UPC, FSNC, and the Social Democratic Front political parties. Going by the presidential decree of March 31, a total of 11 persons are making their maiden entry, 19 maintained, while 10 are out of the House, with every region having at least a newly appointed lawmaker. But for the East and South regions, whose senators in the last legislature were maintained. Going by regions, the Adamawa has a new face amongst the 3 appointed. The Central region counts 2, Far North region equally has 2, the Lithuania region has 1, while in the West region there are 2 faces prominent amongst them: Seydou Bombonjoya, former president of the Cameroon Football Federation. The Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon hit hard by the over 6-year conflict, described by political analysts as regions where caged voters are expected to produce results, have 2 new faces respectively: Vanigansen Mochigal of the Social Democratic Front and Fon Ekoko Mukete, paramount ruler of the Bafors, who substitutes his father, Fon Mukete Esimingo Victor. For the next 5 years, the 100 members of the Upper House of Assembly are expected to take decisions as per the needs of those they are representing.
Van Quinta reporting there. Now, Cameroonians in Tunisia who wish to return home following xenophobic attacks on sub-Saharan Africans in Tunisia will be able to do so as the government announces repatriation flights scheduled for April 5, 2023. Julian Dambi details us on that story.
Cameroonians based in Tunisia may get a sign of relief as government announces repatriation flights for volunteer returnees. This comes almost a month after Tunisian President Kais Saied triggered a racial crisis by accusing sub-Saharan migrants of crime and violence in the country, causing xenophobic attacks against them. The information of voluntary repatriation is contained in a recent communique signed by Cameroon's ambassador to Tunisia, Jebo Samuel, stating the operation was instructed by the head of state, Paul Biya. The repatriation exercise will commence on April 5, 2023 at 5:55 p.m. local time. This is Cameroon's first repatriation flight since President Kais Saied ordered security forces to take urgent measures against hordes of sub-Saharan African migrants, accusing them without evidence of causing a wave of crime and plotting to change the country's demographic makeup. Many of the estimated 21,000 sub-Saharan African migrants in Tunisia, most of whom are irregular, lost their jobs and housing overnight since the remarks by President Kais Saied was made. It is also reported some Africans have suffered physical attacks. Dozens of migrants had gone to their respective embassies in Tunisia asking to return home.
Onto religion. Over 3,000 youths from the Douala Archdiocese and beyond answered present at the St. Peter and Paul Cathedral here in Douala. This was during celebrations marking the Roman Catholic Diocesan Youth Day under the theme Young People Come and See. Nolinga completes that story.
The need to shun moral decadence has been the focus during this 24th edition of the Diocesan Youth Day. Happening here at the St. Peter and Paul Cathedral in Douala, the event has been presided over by the lead clergy, His Lordship Samuel Kleda, Archbishop of the Douala Diocese, who has, through his message to the over 3,000 youths present from the Archdiocese of Douala and beyond, urged them to draw closer to Jesus Christ, who stands out as the only friend who can never fail.
Le message est simple. Il faut
The message is simple. We must get attached to Jesus because no one can love us genuinely like him. And in adding flesh to the Archbishop's message for the day, Reverend Father Christopher Gekum, the Diocesan Youth and Infant Chaplain, now has this to say.
The Diocesan Youth Day is a symbol of togetherness, a symbol of a synod, where the church lives together, to teach young people, especially the teachings of the Archbishop is the teaching of an apostle, to his people, especially the youth who are given to him, under his charge in the Archdiocese. He has the mandate to proclaim the good news, to sanctify these young people, and to ensure them that they are not just to come and, enter the church for their own purpose, but they need to come to the church because Jesus is inviting them to come and see wonderful things and gain salvation, especially through the proclamation of the good news.
Given the diverse challenges young people face on a daily basis in today's world, this day has not only come to celebrate the youth, but also to enable them set their feet on the right paths.
This Archdiocese is living as a synod. We have a 3-year synod that is directed for the young man that come and see the wonders of God. Millions of young people don't see the wonders of God because it is spiritual, but they see their own things in the world, which is money, power, and fame, and they are influenced by emotions and many other things.
And as the church continues to observe the Lenten season, a solemn Holy Mass was also held, which saw the blessing of many more youths. Meanwhile, others too were awarded for their outstanding performances with the issuance of prizes and certificates. Thus, in all, the 24th edition of the Roman Catholic Diocesan Youth Day here at the St. Peter and Paul Cathedral has ended in cultural dance display and diverse forms of animation to keep the youths ever more thrilled.
You're welcome back. Let's now talk health. The month of April is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. The health campaign seeks to increase understanding about the brain disorder that impacts one's coordination and balance, which usually causes nightmares, depression, amnesia, and more, thereby interfering with a person's daily life routine. Bokenga-worthy Kemia has details.
Being a degenerative neurological condition of the brain, Parkinson's disease is a damaging of the nervous system of the body, bearing symptoms including jaw stiffness, loss of appetite, loss of smell, anxiety, difficulty speaking, spasms, nightmares, stiff muscles, abnormal sleep pattern, dizziness, poor balance or coordination, difficulty understanding, fatigue, slow bodily movement, reduced facial expression, and more. Experts say the health condition can birth health complications like depression, emotional change, swallowing problems, bladder problems, constipation, dyskinesia, blood pressure, reduced sex drive, amnesia, dementia, most of which can become severe over time, caused by the breaking down and dying of brain cells in the brain, together with a combination of genetic and environmental factors such as exposure to toxics and chemicals like pesticides, working with heavy metals, detergents and solvents. Worth noting is the fact that though the risk factors of developing the disease is 2 times higher in men than in women, experts say women experience a more rapid disease progression and a lower survival rate than men worldwide. Seeking to raise awareness regarding the neurological health condition every month of April, it is important to note that anxiety and stress together with tremors can worsen the disease over time and be less responsive to medication. To this regard, healthy balanced diet, physical exercises, balance and stress coordination, and more are some ways to help reduce prevalence and support the estimated 19 million sufferers worldwide.
Now, in news out of Cameroon, we visited Morocco, the Sahel, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Equatorial Guinea. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the local currency, the franc, has depreciated to about 15% as compared to the US dollar. Details right now. In touring the African continent today, we made a stop in Morocco, where the country is mourning a playwright who died on Sunday, April 2, 2023, a week after setting himself ablaze in protest against the culture ministry. Ahmed Jawad died in a Rabat hospital, where he was being treated after attempting to end his life, said a Moroccan official. Jawad, on March 27, set himself on fire in front of a headquarters of the Ministry of Culture in Rabat on the International Day of Theatre. However, the Ministry of Youth, Culture and Communication expressed its deep regret in a statement regarding the artist's predicament. Over to the Sahel, where many crises in the region are becoming increasingly challenging for journalists to cover freely, especially now that the military has taken over in some countries. According to reports, the Sahelan Strip that connects the continent from west to east threatens to become Africa's largest information blackout zone. Note that the expulsion of the correspondents of the French dailies Le Monde and Libération by the ruling junta in Burkina Faso on Saturday further clouded the picture. Elsewhere in Equatorial Guinea, a new provisional death toll from the Marburg virus outbreak that has been raging for over 2 months has reached 10 confirmed deaths. According to the Health Ministry, it had no cases reported in the last 48 hours, but counts 14 positive cases and 10 hospitalized, including 2 confirmed and 8 suspected. However, a new death has been reported, bringing to 10 the provisional death toll since the start of the epidemic, with relative symptoms to Ebola and almost as deadly. A total of 604 people in contact are being monitored, compared to 825 on March 30th. And now to the DRC, where a fall in the local currency, salary arrears payments, and war spending have pushed up prices in the impoverished country, leaving locals struggling to afford basic necessities. Since the beginning of 2023, the Congolese franc has depreciated about 15% against the US dollar, according to official figures and money changers, hitting the poorest hardest. Congolese are lamenting the fact that prices have risen much higher, doubling or more in some cases. It is worth mentioning that the price hikes follow increased government spending to battle the M23 rebels. Let's now move on to sports news. The coach of Union Sportive Football Club of Douala has resigned on charges or claims of security reasons and poor results produced in the league this season. Details on this story and other sports updates compiled for us by Macdella in the following reports. Take a listen.
Herman Umaru Sogba has stepped down from his role as head coach of Union Sportive of Douala after just 17 matches this season. This comes after a terrible run of results for Union since the start of the 2022-2023 campaign, including a 1-1 draw against relegation-threatened AS Fortuna at home last Sunday, a match which Union failed to impress. In total, Union has won 5, drawn 8 and lost 4 of Sogba's 17 matches as head coach. Union are 5th in the league, 10 points behind Pool B leaders Bambutus FC of Buda and 6 points of Gazelle FA. Under Sogba, Union scored 16 goals and conceded 14 in 17 league games. As it stands, the former Apejes Onfu, UMS of Loom, Njiko FC and Forever Azure coach is now a free agent, while Union are in the market to get a permanent manager for the rest of the season. And in the same light, Malawi are in search of a new coach as Mario Marinika's contract will not be renewed, as confirmed by the country's football federation. The 58-year-old Romanian who took over as head coach of Malawi in November 2021 guided the team to the round of 16 of the 2021 AFCON in Cameroon. Malawi succumbed to a 4-0 defeat to Egypt in last week's 2023 AFCON qualifier clash, leaving them with very little chance of picking a ticket to the competition in Ivory Coast next year. Their next game against Ethiopia and Guinea is a must-win game as Malawi currently sits third in their group with 3 points. In the meantime, Kotongspor of Garoua suffered a 2-1 defeat to Mamelodi Sundowns on Saturday to extend their losing streak in the group stage of the CAF Champions League to 13 games and their winless run to 15. Kotongspor's last point from a group stage game in the competition was obtained on September 13, 2013, when they played a goalless draw against Sewe Sport.
Huge thanks for your keen attention, dear viewers. That concludes today's Prime News presented by me, Sama Eileen. The news was compiled by Lasha Kinsley and produced by Ewane Nolinga. Thank you very much once again. Have a blessed night, but don't go anywhere. More interesting programs coming up tonight on My Media Prime TV. Up next is Prime Hour with Leonard and his team. Until tomorrow, we love you.